Draft Pod, baby. AFC Championship edition. We break down these rosters, key matchups, keys for the Broncos, not just this Sunday, but beyond to really build an AFC contender for years to come. So much to get into. Plus, we've got a natty to recap, Broncos fits from that game, and so much more. Starting now. DNVR Draft Pod. We're doing it, baby. That's right. Coming to you live from the Toyota Lounge, downtown Denver, on the corner of Colfax and York, right above the DNVR bar. We are presented by the homies at Bet365. Download the Bet365 app and use that code DNVR365. Deposit $10 and place a bet for $5 to get $200 in bonus bets. What a time to be alive, Jakester. We're doing it truly.
Oh, yeah.
We don't just get to talk about the draft and college football and all that's happening and coaching carousel. We've got an AFC Championship in the Mile High City, the home of the AFC Championship, quite frankly, this Sunday, and it's all I can think about.
Me too.
It's incredible.
It's unbelievable. It's been a long time coming, but we're used to this in a way, right? It's like seeing an old friend again, almost.
That's right. That's exactly
like,
right.
Oh, you have a little bit more wrinkles, and you're a little bit longer in the tooth, but you still look great, man.
What an analogy. Have you seen the screenshots of how much Kyle Shanahan has aged? Mm-hmm. Also, Mike Shanahan at Indiana. Any relation?
I do not think so.
I didn't think so either, but boy, that's weird that an offensive play caller is named Mike Shanahan, and there's this whole Shanahan tree.
Look, sometimes it's just destiny. Maybe it's just our year. Mike Shanahan's are literally growing on trees now.
It's true. It's true. I might change my name to Shanahan and then get a job play calling.
I am also
real quick.
Mike Shanahan.
Yeah, me and Dave are getting pretty close. Dave Logan. So maybe he'll.
Yeah.
If I change my name legally, maybe he'll give me a little grad assistant. Do you do grad assistants in high school football?
Ooh, not in high school.
We'll find out. Before we get derailed too much, Stiddy City. Yes, we are all in Stiddy City. Come to the bar to get your shirts. Amazing things happening. Before I get derailed too much, yes, we are the Draft Pod. The normal crew is coming for you Thursday. We've still got a bonus show coming for you Friday. We are covering this bad boy top to bottom all weekend long. We've got all the content. Check out Hank's video breaking down Stiddy. I've got some old Stiddy college thoughts. You were just telling me you were charting Stiddy in Auburn for all of that 2018 season. So have no fear. This is a little different, but we will still talk Broncos and AFC Championship and the whole shebang. But just, it's a smidge different from your usual show, but it's bonus content. Have no fear. And we appreciate you in the chat. Met another amazing diehard who's been listening to us for years, dating back to like the BSN days.
To the Draft Pod?
Yes, he was listening to us out in the Middle East when he was deployed, and we were like keeping him company. Honestly, makes me a little emotional just thinking about it. It's just every time I meet
that's amazing
one of the true homies who listen to the Draft Pod, it means so much. You guys in the Toyota chat are the best. Yes, spam frogs in the chat. I was having a moment of panic yesterday and just hopped on the Avs watch along and spammed frogs in the chat, and everything felt better. So
did they score after? Did it work?
They lost in a shootout, but they get a point.
Pretty
so
close.
It's pretty good. It's pretty good. This was early in the watch along though. So there's all our housekeeping, but I'm not going to delay this too much because after the divisional round, I think it's funny how one game, much like last year, can give you so much clarity on the state of this roster, the state of this team, where we need to go, what areas need to be improved on again on Sunday and beyond. And I think there is a bit of a eternal debate already starting of, do you address the run defense, especially if you were to lose JFM in free agency? It was a nice, the Broncos stuck to the 5-man front for a lot of that game, and that was Uduzarike. Almost.
Well done.
Yeah. Did a lot of heavy lifting, and the Bills, with their bigger offensive line, were able to run, dare I say, at will on the Broncos at times in that game.
Sure.
The 5-man front helped, but then the 5-man front creates these things where you've got like Malcolm Roach sometimes is dropping and cut. I mean, Vance likes to mix in the blitzes and stuff, and JFM might drop in coverage, And so do you need to address that? Do you need to address the defensive line? Nick Kendall was hitting me up, sending me a tweet that was great, which I'll pull up in a second. I haven't even tweeted out the show, but that the top 4 interior defensive lines in the top 4 graded defensive lines. Here, let me just find this real quick.
Do it.
Fact. I've got the legend Mike Trout sending me tweets about the Bean press conference where the owner is saying he didn't want to draft Keon Coleman. We'll get into it. Let's not derail.
The Broncos broke them.
Yes, we broke that franchise entirely, which is great. So Kevin Clark, great guy. He tweeted out that the Broncos got the most pressures in the NFL from their starting defensive tackle duo. The Seahawks were second, the Rams were third, the Pats were fourth. That's the remaining 4 teams in the conference championships all led the league in interior pass rush, which I think is something we've harped on for a bit now, and how you can never have enough interior defensive linemen. And we've been already talking about this for a month plus. Like, is that a sneaky need for the Broncos? So you've got that versus the skill players.
Yeah.
Where the depth at wide receiver got exposed with Troy Franklin, Pat Bryant getting injured, though Marvin Mims did come up big. But in general, this is something you've harped on. I was getting a lot of questions after the game during the watch along about, you got to address running back. I'm watching all these other playoff games like the Bears-Rams, and that's multiple tight end sets almost the entire game. And a lot of these remaining, the divisional round had a lot of teams like that. So, and obviously you're out your starting quarterback, though I don't think quarterback's a need, but RB, wide receiver, tight end, let's call tight end the skill position, though it kind of straddles the line sometimes, versus run defense.
Meat and potatoes.
Yeah. Explain that further to the people.
It's just positional value, and it's just what we talk about, I feel like every other week on this show, and it's a great reminder. It's like taking your vegetables almost. These big body guys, the guys who move best with big bodies and who are able to just cause havoc or prevent havoc if it's on the offensive side, those guys just go earlier. You got to take those guys earlier. You have to. If you're going to target one of them, you're probably going to look at, at this point, what is it, 28 through 32? Or you're going to look in the second round, and that's it. That's going to be your chance to take really, even if we've talked offensive line too as a need, right?
Yeah. I mean, that's the other side of the coin is if the trenches are so important, the trenches remain important on the other side of things.
For sure.
I think it was Jose last time who was pointing out, there's a lot of Ben Powers as a contract you can get out of. And a starting offensive lineman. I mean, the Broncos played with Palcho in that spot for a lot of the season, but how important is that? I think we're going to see a guy like Nick Bonito be able to feast on a rookie offensive tackle who already struggled mightily against Will Anderson.
Yep.
And, you know, all of a sudden it seems like, are we getting cute? Are we nitpicking, arm lengths, blah, blah, blah. But then this is the time of year where, funny enough, that stuff matters the most. And Will Campbell, Nick Bonito, I think is maybe the matchup of the game for the Broncos in this one where, you know, Deion Dawkins had a good game. That Bills O-line had a good game. But then they were like double teaming Nick Bonito. They're bringing, you know,
sliding his way.
Right, sliding his way. And the one sack he had, he's beating a double team.
Right.
And by the time he's beat that blocker who's chipping him, he's already gone around Deion Dawkins' big ass, you know? I mean, that's how electric he is. But at the same time, were they getting consistent enough pressure in that Bills game? I know there were times during that watch along where I was like, man, where's the pressure? We got to get after his ass a little more.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's something that we've talked about, though, right? Like, you just have to keep on hitting these positions, and you have to kind of lean into your strengths, right? Already, this is a strength of this football team, and obviously there's things that need to improve over the offseason, but you don't let that happen at the detriment of one of the things you're already good at, right? You have these guys. We've been talking about JFM and just finding more depth on this defensive line all year. And that was the best rushing attack in the league this year too, right? So I think it's about not overreacting too much because you're in the divisional round. You're playing the best rushing team in the league. And also realizing that this is why we got here. This is why we match up well against them. And this is why we won. We need to keep it that way.
Yeah, I mean, that's the truth is sometimes you just need to keep a strength. And, you know, one of the things I said in the after party, which if you didn't catch that, after our post-game show, Jake and I jumped on with D-Line and RK, and it's one of the best shows I've ever done, and I'm so proud of all the extra work that went into that.
I'll be honest, I couldn't think straight for that show.
It was a crazy one, but the people needed it. And the feedback on that one has been really amazing too. So thank you so much. But I was pointing out how, you know, James Cook is a guy I was really high on coming out of Georgia.
Me too.
And for years, I was left wondering, man, did I overrate this guy? And then it was like by year 4, then that breakout season came around and like you start to forget you even ranked the guy high or how he even looked at Georgia, you know? But it took that dynamic backfield for the Bills that gave that awesome Broncos defense so much trouble a while to get where they're at. And that's why, like, Bo's way ahead of schedule. I'm not worried.
Absolutely.
And RJ, it might just take him a little longer, and that's okay if the return 2-3 years down the line is a James Cook type return or an Alvin Kamara, you know, like a top 10-ish type running back in the league type return. So that's where skill position, I'm like, I don't know. And then wide receiver, I mean, the Brandon Beam press conference alone could give us, but I think the wide receiver matchups on either side of the ball against these corners is going to be real intriguing because the Pats, it's maybe not to the extent of the Bills because they do have Stephon Diggs. They have invested in Hunter Henry, but their pass catchers aren't exactly the Minnesota Vikings receiver room either, you know?
Yeah.
So maybe there's something to be said for wide receiver. Yeah, you can spend, but you don't need to spend too much. I want to get into how many tight ends the Broncos have, what the Stiddy game plan is, get back to some of our old Stiddy thoughts when he was at Auburn. There's a lot to unpack on the other side. But first, a quick shout out to our friends. Bet365, baby. What a time on the Bet365 app. The only place you can use our code DNVR365 or find our custom bets. Last week's hit in a big way, and they had the guaranteed, one plus passing yards. That hit in a major way, obviously. Bet365 handling all the business, giving you all the rewards, and on top of that, you can sign up right now with our code 365. Minimum $10 deposit, minimum $5 bet. As soon as that is settled, doesn't have to win, just settled, win, lose, or draw, bang, $200 in your account. It's an amazing offer. Get in on some draft props if you can, starting that off right now. And let's make some money at the end of football season. Start betting Nugs, Avs, and get it all done. Put your money where your mouth is at Bet365. Must be 21 plus, physically located in Colorado. Please gamble responsibly. If you, someone you know has a gambling problem, wants help, call or text 1-800-GAMBLER. TNCs apply. And a shout out to our good friends at Taco Bell, true homies of the Buffs and helping out with, the NIL on that end. True homies of the draft. Of course, they're bringing back the iconic quesarito, which is synonymous with Jokic's draft selection, 41st overall back in the day. And our king has tried it. And also, Taco Bell, always homies with the Rockies. 7+ runs, you get yourself tacos. They've always been true Denver sports fans. And while you're at it, you can have them for game day. Try the crispy chicken menu. Chicken strips in the burrito. Taco Bell crispy chicken delivers every time. And with the football playoffs this weekend, be the hero of the party. And don't forget to pick up a crispy chicken game day pack featuring chicken strips, soft tacos, and Taco Bell's amazing nacho fries, which hit every time. Liv Moss at Taco Bell. Back in the Toyota studio, brought to you by Bet365. Download the app. Use that code DNVR365. Deposit $10 and place a bet for $5 and get $200 in bonus bets. So, Jake, you're a little off the wide receiver train. I'm surprised to see you be a responsible.
No. Hold on.
Responsible team building. The playoffs come and you become responsible on me.
We need wide receivers. Absolutely.
Yeah.
We don't need to take one in the top of the draft, I don't think, though.
Right, because the depth is so great is the other part of this.
I really like this wide receiver class. I was talking with Scott and RK about this after the show yesterday and just kept looking at the names, and it's I think there's a lot to work with here. I mean, for sure. Would it be nice to have a Mekhi Lemon, Denzel Boston, even Carnell Tate, which is probably way out of range? Yeah, that'd be really nice to have. But
yeah.
I think there's other guys in this class who could make some sense. And plus, you're going to have so much money. I think you'd almost be worth splurging a little bit in the free agent pool to try and get a guy.
How you treat free agency is going to be real interesting. How you game plan on Sunday is going to be real interesting with a beat-up wide receiver room. Mm-hmm. But still, I think Courtland Sutton, can hold his own against Christian Gonzalez. Mm-hmm. I think Stiddy really likes those bigger targets and high pointing the ball. And sometimes, it doesn't matter how good the corner is. Sutton's just bigger. He, his combine results, I remember his jumps were out of this world. He ran faster than anyone expected. Just the explosive stuff in short areas, what's really stood out about Courtland. I think he can give Christian Gonzalez on some back shoulder stuff and just going up to get it. A real battle. And on the other side, you're going to have, how do you use Pat? Is it Booty, right?
Yeah.
And as the big outside, how do you handle Stephon Diggs in more of the slot? How do you defend Henry's going to be real interesting. Someone in the Toyota chat was saying the coverage was really good against the Bills. I mean, PJ and Jaquan were just outstanding. Those deep coverage plays were incredible. Riley Moss had a pretty immaculate game. You just need you have more of those performances, and you put Will Campbell and the rest of their pretty shaky O-line in hell. You're going to have a definite chance to compete, especially when no one has a real game plan on Stiddy, and that's going to be as hard to game plan for an offense as possibly imaginable. So, yeah, there's the wide receiver part in free agency. There's also the tight end part. Is how many tight ends do you need?
Is that like the trend in the NFL? Is that where we're going?
I mean, I watch
the Bears do it all the time.
Colston
the Rams do it all the
Loveland
time.
and Cole Kmet and
Yeah.
Colby Parkinson and Jake Ferguson. And I'm like, man, I'd love two of those guys.
For sure. I think, and again, just if Evan Ingram was, I don't even know how to say that. He just has to be better, bro. Like, he was built up to be so much more coming out of free agency, and he was supposed to have such a big role on this team, and he's just really left it void. And I think that's really why we're feeling like
Hasn't
we need
looked
to talk
super
about that
dynamic.
possession.
Yeah.
Has a little what? What'd you say?
Hasn't looked super dynamic,
No,
which is
not
what
at
you
all.
want from it.
But like, he hasn't been like the key to unlocking like the offense either.
Mhm.
Like, we haven't seen him really ripping up the seams and run after the catch stuff. Like, it's
Yeah.
just a little bit here and there, and it's just honestly, it's not really worth the money I think they paid at a certain point too.
Yeah, for sure. And you have them left for 1 year. And I mean, they open the game when everyone's still healthy.
Mm-hmm.
First off, Benny, I thought, had a great point of like, if your game plan to open your playoffs, your script to start the game is featuring Pat Bryant so heavily, you've got big plans for him in the future.
Of course.
And then Marvin Mims having like the biggest game he's had since that Cincy game last
Amazing.
year is, I mean, pretty important.
But we need guys who can go in and be like problems for teams. Like, we got to circle this guy and make sure
Yeah.
we can contain him. Like, that's
Right.
the type of guys we need at wide receiver.
Yeah, the guys who like shift your coverage in the game plan on the Thursday before the game.
Yes.
That's who you need, is someone who's going to put you in conflict as you're game planning, who's keeping DCs up at night. I know, but Jake, can you really find that guy in the late second or late third?
Absolutely, bro.
Or maybe you're better off in free
Bro.
agency, and in free agency, maybe you draft some tight ends. You need some inline tight ends too.
For sure. Puka Nacua was like a 5th round pick.
Yeah, he was.
Keyshawn
He
Boutte was picked in the 7th round. Like, there's like, you could Parker Washington, another guy who
I
made a
know.
lot of plays in the
I
playoffs.
know.
He was what, a day 2 pick? Like,
Yeah.
it's all these. You can find so much value at receiver. Like, I double dip even. Take one.
The Indiana kids.
Give me Cooper. Like, I think he's a guy who can
I
create
can't wait
problems
to
for
talk
you.
about this.
But you can also do both. Like, you can spend on a receiver and also draft a guy too. Like, it doesn't have to be exclusive. It's just we've taken a lot of projects at the position over the years, and it's starting to catch up a little bit. I mean, Bo has done great with them so far, and they've obviously what Mims did on Sunday. It's just the consistency of it all, though,
Yeah.
right?
Well, and Sutton, he was more reliable in the 4th and OT.
Mm-hmm.
But man, you need more out of that guy.
100%.
And I'm intrigued to see what Ingram and Sutton can do with Stidham.
Yes, me
Where
too.
I think it might be a little more meat and potatoes. It might just be first, second read, get it out quick. And the passing game's going to be a little more structured maybe.
Mm-hmm.
And how can those guys strive on top of like, Stidham's just going to attack vertically and I think take his shots, and that ball placement's a real strength. Being able to high point guys and use their size is a real strength. So how can you rely on that? I definitely think that's a key, especially with a banged up Carlton Davis.
Yeah.
And I mean, I don't know, Christian Gonzalez, not necessarily 100% either. So,
Right.
and then the O-line's got to show up.
That's the biggest thing.
Their defensive line, in some ways, a lesser version of the Broncos. More of a finesse group, but Milton Williams is getting after it. Harold Landry has kind of found a renaissance back with Vrabel, and you can't let those guys eat. You got to shut them down.
Yeah.
And, obviously the center injuries can play a big part in that, but those, I think, are the keys to the game. We've broken down some of the matchups. The chat was saying Cooper's going to eat too. That's the thing, man. Coop's got to show up. Jonah Ellis, Dondre, JFM, all those guys got to play well. Zach Allen's got to have a huge game. Malcolm Roach has got to do what he's been doing kind of at the end of the season. He's been really impressive, by the way. You got to win in the trenches. You got to lessen their wins in the trenches. You got to win on the outside, win those one-on-ones, wide receivers versus corners. And then more long-term, I think what we're saying is defensively, you're focusing more on the trenches, less on the back seven, where I think you're showing you're plenty good.
Yeah.
And then free agency is probably where you want to attack some of those skill players.
For sure.
And then add some depth and developmental pieces later in the draft.
Totally. I think for a game plan's perspective for this weekend, I think it's probably a little bit difficult on these guys in terms of that, because it feels like you're maybe regressing a bit, right? Like, not to say that Stidham's bad or anything, but like you've just seen Bo come from so far. Like, I'm sure that what Sean's been able to put in the game plan and the plays that he's been able to put in has expanded so much, even going back to week 1 this year. Even you could throw in last year too, obviously, but he was a pure rookie at that point. But again, not to like discredit Jarrett Stidham, but I think that's the game plan though, right? Lean more so on the defense. Maybe you're trying to run the ball more. Hopefully JK's back, a little more play action, roll in the pocket type of stuff. Just cutting off half the field, whatever you need to do to just make it super easy for Stidham, so that you just don't put him in situations where he has to force the ball pretty much, right? So, and again, this isn't a rookie though. Like, that's like the rookie game plan for when Bo was, just starting to come along. Like, I think you're going to see it fleshed out a little more, but I wouldn't be surprised if it's returned to basics. But that's kind of just how you win in the playoffs too, man. You're just the better fundamentally sound team. You're more disciplined, penalties, turnovers. It's just that type of stuff. It's that time of year.
100%. I mean, it's similar to like when I start to entertain myself in the summer and do some deep dives in the NBA draft. The way we think of NBA prospects is totally based on what we just saw in the playoffs.
Right.
And I think in the NFL, we do that less. We think more regular season, but we talk about it all the time. December, January, football is so different.
Yes.
And that's where it really matters.
Yeah.
That's where these matchups really matters. That's where the team construction really comes into play. Got a super chat in the Toyota chat we'll hit on the other side. Please leave us a thumbs up. Love to see everyone feeling it. I see some Stiddy believers, some citizens in the chat, citizens of Stiddy City,
man,
and some non-believers. Which hey, it's the Pats at Mile High. I only know good things from these matchups. So we're gonna unpack so much more. Get into some Stiddy draft evals.
Yeah.
Here in a second, and start to talk some college football, guys that stood out to us in the Natty, even some coaching carousel thoughts, lots to unpack, all on the other side. First, a quick shout out. And Credit Union, pull out that PS2 card, and you will not be disappointed with our good friends at Ent. Not only all the perks, but they have an amazing charity initiative going on right now for members that snag the PS2 card. Ent will donate $50 to Children's Hospital of Colorado. It's part of their Interception program, where Ent also donates $1,000 to Children's Hospital of Colorado for every interception the Broncos had. That was $2K last week with those amazing Jaquan McMillan and PJ Locke interceptions, and $6,000 for every pick six. Feel like PS2 is due, and it's all going to come together with the Ent Credit Union card. So not just all the perks, you got to bank like a Bronco and support a great cause. Head over to ent.com/DNVR to learn more. Insured by NCUA, membership required, account requires associated Ent Broncos debit card. Ent will make the one-time donation on your behalf. This donation is not sourced. And also, shout out to our friends at Xfinity, sponsoring the other studio, of course. Xfinity's 5-year price guarantee is giving you reliable and intelligent Wi-Fi. What if you could keep that same price for 5 years? That's the Xfinity 5-year price guarantee. In the draft world, in the NFL, in football in general, 5 years, everything can change. 5 years ago, we didn't have NIL. We didn't have all the stuff that's going on in college football. Indiana was a bum program. And now look at it. Stiddy, draft evals, long time ago, 5 years ago, he was a completely different guy, completely different player. Look at all that's changed. So much can change in 5 years, but not your Wi-Fi price. They've got just an amazing deal. They've got intelligent Wi-Fi for you and no annual contracts, no hidden fees, and Xfinity's best equipment included too. So lock in your price and unlock the possibilities with Xfinity. Learn more at Xfinity.com. Xfinity, imagine that. Select plans only. Restrictions apply. Back in the Toyota Lounge. Brought to you by Bet365. Download the Bet365 app. Use that code DNVR365. Deposit $10. Place a $5 bet and get $200 in bonus bets. Any final thoughts on the AFC Championship or team building? Have we covered it all?
Godspeed the Denver Broncos, man.
Truly. Truly.
Wishing you boys well. Please bring it home for me.
Yeah.
For us.
Make the teamness of it all rise above the rest. Like Indiana.
Yes, exactly.
Make the teamness stand out. That's what matters.
One last thing, actually. This is the time of year for all this cheesy stuff, like believe and like
Yes.
they counted us
Yes.
out. Like whatever you need to find in terms of motivation,
100%.
man, please.
100%, brother. Yeah, could not agree more. Well, while we are in Stiddy City, I had fun looking back, and you then were able to look back on some of your charts from Stiddy. Yeah, you can pull up that first screen or that last screenshot I sent you. These were my preseason rankings for that 2018 class, where I was pretty excited about Jared Stidham. I was pretty high on him, 32nd overall on my board, in front of Justin Herbert. Not sure what that guy ended up doing, but those were my preseason rankings. I don't think he even declared. Now,
Probably not.
probably shouldn't toot my horn because 31, I had Shea Patterson, the Michigan QB, didn't do much there. Jeffrey Simmons was 30th. He's had a good career there for the Titans.
Yeah, he had a weird evaluation. People were trying
He
to do
really
some
did.
off-field stuff with him, which
Yeah.
obviously he's kind of a crash out, but like that's why he's great. So
Zach Allen was 29th.
yeah, he was
always
great coming
high
out of
on
BC.
Zach Allen. I loved him.
Yeah.
I was higher than consensus. Debo Samuel, 28th.
Great call from you.
Josh Allen, before he was Josh Hines Allen from Kentucky,
Yes.
27th.
Uh-huh.
And Anthony Jennings, who's actually starting for the Pats, the old
Yeah.
Bama pass rusher, was just below Herbert. And then Drew Lock was 35th, who you never know with Darnold's injury. The scouting report, you could bring that up. That's the first screenshot I sent you, Yaya. I said about Stidham, this is not preseason. This is a week before the draft or so in my QB preview. Stidham came out into the year as a prime candidate to be the top quarterback taken after a strong performance against Alabama the year prior, leading Auburn to a top 10 finish. He, like Bo, in his first year at Bama, had led to an Iron Bowl upset. Which,
Yeah, that
remember,
was
we can count them on two hands. The guys who did that, Manziel, that was huge for his stock. Cam Newton, that's when he really came alive. This was kind of Ryan Mallett's claim to fame. So it's worked out for a lot of these guys. And Stiddy, part of that club with Bo. His final year was disappointing, to say the least, as Stidham has the arm and is athletic, but just didn't get the job done on a consistent basis. His struggles under pressure were troublesome, and his accuracy was sorely lacking. That's an area we've seen Stidham really come along in the NFL, both of his starts in the Raiders. And I think we saw that in the preseason with the Broncos too. A former Baylor standout, he played his best football back in Texas when he wasn't afraid to take shots deep and play loose. That's what we need from Stidham here. Just let it rip, man.
Yep.
And make it easy for him. Make the game plan easy, like first, second reads. Just let it rip. Challenge these corners. Challenge these DBs. He showed some increased polish in 2017, so that was his first year at Auburn. So, right, he was the gunslinger he was at Baylor, showed some polish, so it was really exciting. That's why I was high on him in the preseason coming in to the 2018 season / 2019 draft, but regressed in a major way last year. His skill set is enticing, but he wasn't a very good quarterback in his final year in the SEC. So that was the scouting report there. He ended up being my 10th ranked quarterback, 127th ranked prospect on the board. And of all those guys, he's like one of the few that's worked out.
Yep.
So yeah. There you go. And then you were charting. Tell people your background. You were working for SIS, Sports Info Solutions here. And what was your job there?
Yeah, so this was my second year at SIS. Things were, so my first year, actually, 2017, the year that Baker, Rosen, Lamar, Josh Allen came out, right? That was like the second or third year we were even doing football stuff at SIS. So things were a lot more polished when I came back the next year, and we had like dedicated teams. And so I had a dedicated team. Every week I would watch their game for participation stats. So who's on the field for every single play. And Auburn was my college football team. So I watched every single play from Auburn that year.
In that final disappointing season.
Yes, in 2018. And this is when I really started to hop on the Gus has to go bandwagon, because you could see the talent in Jarrett Stidham.
This is Gus Malzahn.
Yes.
He was the head coach at the time at Auburn.
Yes. You could see the talent in Jarrett Stidham, and what Gus was trying to do with him, and he obviously gets Bo the next year, right? So it's like it's crazy actually how it works, but and they were running Jarrett quite a bit as well too. I mean,
That's the thing. You don't think of him as an athlete, but
No.
coming out of Art Browse's Baylor system and Malzahn's Auburn, you had to be an athlete.
Absolutely. Go look at his game log, especially from 2018. They ran him at least 5 times a game. Some of those were sacks for sure, but like they were doing a lot of the weird, read option, RPO type stuff that was, even at that time, still a little bit ahead of its time in terms of the implementation, conference or league wide or nationwide in terms of what everyone
So
was
crazy
doing.
to even think.
It is. So it was a lot of sloppy, like deep shots where it just seemed unstructured at times, but it was a simple read where it's like, man, if you just got one-on-one coverage, they had Seth Williams at the time, who was eventually a Broncos draft pick.
Yes.
Who else was on this team?
Yeah, it was kind of a weaker squad.
Darius Slayton was on that team. Ryan Davis was a solid player at that time. Anthony Schwartz. So they had a lot of like speed, deep threat type guys on the outside, and that was a lot of their offense. But you could see it, like when it was timed up and he hit his back foot off that hitch and he was able to get protection, and it was a beautiful throw. Always. I mean, the ball was just zipping through the air like these beautiful rainbows, arm strength, but that's really, again, when the Gus bust was coming to a halt, and I was like, this just isn't working. Like, you're asking so much out of your quarterbacks and you're not really highlighting them too much. It just mattered so much about those deep shots, which was why you heard the big arm quarterback type of thing and all this stuff coming out. So,
I mean, it's funny to think now, because RK we started this, we'd call them 3-and-D, or no, dunks and threes quarterbacks. And it started with Tannehill when the Titans were good and they were like the one seed, because he'd get you those RPO runs, or he'd complete a quick slant or whatever, or he'd take the deep shots. That's kind of how he was used at both Baylor and Auburn, because those were the offenses. It's funny to look back now where you think of him as much more of a quarterback who can operate in those middle areas and what have you. A thing that Stiddy always stood out for in college was touchdown to interception ratio.
Yes.
48 tuds, 13 interceptions.
Yes.
Which is really an unbelievable ratio. And then had 9 rushing touchdowns in his career. Rushing yards are a little skewed in college because they count sack yards against it. So it's a bit of a tough one to analyze. But this is a guy who really, he was the full-time starter for just a handful of games at Baylor. He threw for 7,000 yards, most of those coming in the SEC.
Yep.
And then had that touchdown to interception ratio. So,
I mean, look, so going back to 2018, Seth Williams averaged over 20 reception. Darius Slayton was 19.1 per reception. Schwartz was, I'm pretty sure, a younger guy at the time, but he averaged 16.2 yards per reception. He was more of their like slot. A lot of those RPOs were designed for him. Threes and dunks is the perfect way to describe it. That's all this offense was.
yeah. And you just need to see more nuance. You need to see him use that athleticism to get out of pressure. I think he's come a long way in that regard. You need to see him operate, in that passing game over the middle of the field and the intermediate passing game. And I think you'll be in a good spot. Hilarious. We've got Bills fans crying still. Like, you guys.
Brother, what are you doing?
Just worry about your next head coach hire and
isn't it like
having a lineman
season?
in the organization. Block these clowns. Yeah. Just fine. I mean, we do appreciate you tuning in. That is true. So,
it's basketball season for
those
who aren't playing in the playoffs.
I think that they're more of a hockey town, Buffalo, but yes, point stands.
It's not football. That's all I know.
Yeah, get ready to learn sabers, buddy. So it's the lack of ball knowledge. We say it all the time. Mm-hmm. It's a real epidemic in this country, and we need to address it. And it's one of. I mean, I need to talk to RK, the mayor of City,
mm-hmm.
and maybe get appointed as some sort of ball knowledge initiative in our city council to really try and like improve the kind of ignorance that goes on in the football world right now so that misinformed Bills fans can stop crying. We literally lost a quarterback because the refs swallowed the whistle and didn't call obvious hold in the end zone. They swallowed the ref on an obvious PI on Lil Jordan right before. They were like, okay, if you guys are not going to play defense and just foul every time, we need to start calling this, the hold that wasn't called on the Broncos on that field goal at the end of the fourth, which puts Prater out of range. But we're ball knowers. We understand, it's a game of inches. This is how it goes sometimes. And the refs aren't going to call everything in the playoffs. And hey, we lost our quarterback. That's just how the cookie crumbles. We believe in Bo. We believe in Stiddy, and we'll be just fine. But you don't see us whining about it. We're excited, and it's a shame to see just non-ball knowers instead of just go grind some tape. You love ball. Get out of the chat. Keep the views going. Open up a separate tab and start grinding some tape. Maybe since you're hating on a wide receiver who's actively on your roster, start scouting some wideouts. It's a great class, my friend.
Yeah. And stop defending a player who had 4, almost 5 turnovers. That's just complete lack of ball knowledge, man. You can't keep doing it. That's losing football.
Yeah, it's really true. That's really
crazy.
True. Yeah. A Mel Kiper draft, and for this
shout out Mel Kiper,
ignorant Buffs fan, he gave him Chris Brazzell, the second from Tennessee.
For Buffalo?
26th overall.
Have fun.
Yeah, that'll be a tough one. He's also a dunks and threes kind of guy.
He is all threes.
Yeah, he's all threes. Just deep ball
Kyle
threat,
Korver.
and that's it. Caden Proctor goes 28th overall, the Bama offensive tackle, who would be a fun conversation for the Broncos. But more importantly, the Broncos at 30 get Caleb Banks, the masses, 6'6", 330-pound Florida nose tackle. But what's intriguing about Banks is 330 pounds. You think he's mammoth. Well, it's 6'6" frame. He carries it pretty well and is pretty mobile. So that's a guy who in a 4-man front can take on 2 offensive linemen because of his size, but isn't just a 2-down nose tackle like Deion Walker, for example, from Kentucky that the Bills had on their defense, who we were pretty high on and thought had a decent game. So he'd be a nice mix and might be a nice addition to this roster. That's an intriguing pick for Denver.
He's a freak.
It fits into what we were talking about. One of the freaks in this class with like Caden Proctor and stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I say it quite a bit on this show. There's big guys, and then there's just guys who are big in terms of, look, the guys that have the big old guts who are just, and then you have guys who are just 6'6" athletes who are unbelievable, who could play basketball if they wanted to at a high level, right?
Yeah.
It makes no sense to watch him play sometimes. Moving like that at that size, he could definitely be. He's probably more of a Jordan Davis and a Deion Walker type of player in terms of how he moves, right? Like Deion Walker was like that's just a big guy, right? Yeah.
And Jordan Davis to some extent, maybe more of a big guy. Like Banks can actually move.
Exactly.
And if you're wondering, well, why is he lasting till 30? He was injured most of this last season at Florida. So he didn't get to kind of have that final draft season where he really broke out. And obviously Florida had their own concerns. But, and you know, I mean.
They were still good. Or I'm not going to say good. They had some flashes defensively. They had some players for sure. So, and it would have helped to have him. But
yeah, 100%.
I mean, you talk about, you know, keeping this defensive line off the top of the show, talking about keeping this defensive line as a strength of this football team. This is exactly how you do that.
Yeah, for sure. CJ Allen going pretty high. He's been mocked to the Broncos a lot. He goes 19th in this one. Kenyon Sadiq drops to 15, but well out of the Broncos range. And some intriguing O-line talent around that Broncos pick.
Wow, Mesidor up to 20 in this?
Yeah. Monroe Fleming going to the Rams right before the Broncos at 29. So, yeah. Interesting. We had a natty. Indiana does it. It was exactly what we predicted. They wouldn't cover the spread, but they would win.
Great call by us.
Great call by us. We were perfect with our picks against the spread in the national semis and natty. So that was that was beautiful by us. Lots of nice little standouts in this one.
Yeah. Kurt Cignetti's unbelievable. That was just a coaching clinic, honestly. In terms of just the run blitzes seemed to be perfectly timed. It seemed like every time Carson Beck was dropping back, Indiana was dropping 8. To get that punt block, you know, just, I mean, really the only gripe I have is towards the end. I think that's really when Miami outdid them in terms of getting the ball back. That false start on the left tackle was massive, and it's what gave Miami life. But I really think Mario Cristobal just handled the clock there really, really well to give themselves a chance to win. And, I mean, they made the kick. They were up by 6, and then the clutch defense just all year from them. Maybe underrated in terms of the pure talent, but I saw Brugler talking about they're going to have 10-plus guys drafted this year, and they probably are, and a lot of them are going to be on the defensive side of the football. So
yeah, for sure. I've got lots of thoughts on both Miami and Indiana. I do want to kind of tell you we've still got our playoff diehard sale going on. Some incredible content being written on our YouTube channel, some exclusive content for our diehards, Fran Duffy's draft content. You're getting it all. Nugs, Avs, Buffs, Rams, and of course, Broncos and draft. The newsletter's been outstanding. You get it all for $36. You get a free shirt included in this, including this bad boy. I just got my Orange Rush shirt, which we need the Orange Rush in a big way in this one.
This is when you earn your nickname.
You know, Stiddy City here at the bar. So, and then you get discounts at the tailgate, going to be a lit tailgate this Sunday. You get discounts at the bar, going to be just an all-time watch party at the DNVR bar. I mean, the scenes here are incredible. We've been doing this. I've been doing this for almost 10 years with these guys for at least like 7. I mean, Big Yaya's been with us for at least that amount. Jake was writing write-ups during COVID for me on our draft guide when we were doing that before delegating that to Fran back in the day. I'll never forget a call where you were like, you know, this Herbert kid maybe has something to him. And funny that McDaniel might be the OC out there after coaching Tua. He coaches the QB drafted just after Tua.
Crazy.
We've been doing this a long time because we kind of saw a gap in the marketplace and like, yeah, sure, you can talk Broncos for 5 hours on radio, but there was a bit lacking for everything else, and we try to provide everything else, and we're trying to do it at a price that our fans of
sports
all can get in on and be part of this community. So it means the world for us when you support our shows, when you support our content, if you can get in on that. So just calling that out. Miami thoughts or Indiana thoughts?
Let's stick with Indiana. Go ahead. What do you have?
Indiana, incredible, just the best team. Not the most talented. They were not more talented than Ohio State. They were not more talented than Oregon when they beat them twice. Shoot, NFL talent-wise, they might not have been more talented than Penn State.
No.
When they won that with the incredible throw and catch at the very end of that game. That was Surratt, right? Who did the toe drag?
That was Cooper, actually.
Find that when I finish my thoughts. They weren't more talented than Miami, man. So that's at least 5 opponents they went against this season. They weren't the more talented squad then. It was Cooper. Damn. But they were just the best team. How solid that defense was incredible. I'm looking up their little cornerback, D'Angelo Pons, who we've talked about plenty on this show. Yeah. You said that on a mic. People heard that. Yeah, saying he's just Jaquan in college. That might be his best role. He's 5'9", 170.
He's gotta.
We recently went through this with Emmanuel Forbes being even lighter than this, being drafted in the first round. He didn't work out with the Commanders, has had a nice season with the Rams, though injured during the playoffs and kind of fell off second part of the year, but still turning out he had a good stock there. But Forbes had the length.
Yeah, he was what, 6'3"?
I don't know that he was that tall, but he was at least like 5'11 plus with long arms, but skinnier than Pons. Pons is 5'9". So I was looking up corners that are sub 5'11 that have been drafted in the first round. I found a handful. Tyron Poole was drafted 20th overall by the Carolina Panthers. He had a little stretch with the Broncos. Frankly, I don't remember him. Antoine Winfield Sr. Fit the mold. That's the guy who is actually an all-pro and stuff. But where Pons plays as a pro, he's not going to be an outside corner like he was at Indiana. Do you draft a nickel corner that high? Do you play him in that Jaquan role? How high can he go? I think will be an interesting conversation. And I mean, we have had not this undersized, but undersized cornerbacks. Denzel Ward. I'm blinking on the Washington guy who went to the Chiefs. I seem like a non-ball knower with this one.
I can't help you there, but I can throw out Brent Grimes, who was 5'10", who played outside corner at a really high level for quite a while, especially in Miami. He had a 10, 12-year NFL career.
Yeah, that's a good one. This one's gonna kill me, so I gotta look it up.
Yeah, sorry, man.
I'm Trent McDuffie. But again, Trent McDuffie, like Denzel Ward, is like 5'11".
Sure.
So it's going to be an interesting eval. My guy, Mikhail Kamara, had a big game. He's had a down season, but is coming off several big years, both at JMU
he had the, pump block.
And Indiana. He had the pump block as a defensive lineman. 6'1", 265. He has 23 and a half career sacks, 10 sacks with Indiana in their spectacular season last year. But yet the overarching theme, great college team, how these guys translate to the pros on defense, I don't know. Maybe it might be a lot of guys who are maxed out in college and a bit undersized.
Yeah.
And we just talked about the importance of size. So that's where, Indiana is an interesting one for that. And then, offensively, God, those wide receivers are awesome. Surratt had kind of a down game, but I see so many tools that intrigue me. Omar Cooper Jr., dude just gets open,
Oh, we didn't even hit on our guy, Nowakowski, bro.
Riley Nowakowski keeps standing out.
Yes.
Undersized tight end, but always makes crucial plays as a receiver and always such a strong blocker, regardless of the talent and NFL caliber defensive lineman he's going against. He's always making an impact. Carter Smith, their left tackle, got exposed in a major way. Both Ruben Bain and Messidor kind of took him to the woodshed there. And
those guys are different, though.
They are, but in the NFL, as a left tackle, you're going against guys who are different every damn Sunday. In the NFL, those guys aren't different. They're what's happening week in, week out for you.
I don't know how many teams in the NFL have a tandem like that, though.
Come playoffs, though.
For sure.
It's Will Anderson, Daniel Hunter. It's Cooper Bonito. It's, Jared Verse. You've got some guys.
Bro, Ruben Bain is different.
Ruben Bain is different.
I mean, he has the potential to be just an absolute game wrecker in the NFL, I think.
Yeah.
And the body type in terms of kind of being a little bit of a tweener, honestly, between a defensive end and a defensive tackle. I just think that he's someone who could be an absolute problem. He's going to grow into probably a monster 3-tech in 2-3 years and just completely wreck game plans. He's different. He's unbelievable.
Yeah. Shout out to our chat because they were already talking about Ahmed Moten Sr., number 99 on Miami. Big boy. He wrecked that game. 6'3", 325 pounds. If you can't get Caleb Banks and Moten were to declare, he'd be a very intriguing prospect for the Broncos as a bigger, mobile defensive lineman on that front. On Kiper's mock, Bain goes 7th overall. Francis Mayuaga, their right tackle, goes 3rd overall. And then Messidor, a guy who we've talked for the Broncos as a potential replacement for JFM, he went as high as, I just had it, 20th.
Yeah.
And he's listed at 280, which I swear that's gone up in the last couple of weeks. He was closer. Yes. 280.
Wow.
His first step.
Yeah.
And maybe it's not bend, but that first step combined with the ability to dip, really stands out.
I mean, there's a play that happened and it was a screen, but both of them did that, just running off the edge, and they still somehow almost got to Mendoza. Again, it's a screenplay. The ball is designed to come out quick. They are, yes, letting the rush through, but you mentioned it. The first step from both of them, I think it's just
crazy good.
It's unreal. That's what I'm saying, bro.
Forget the age, forget the measurables. Just like, is he a game wrecker? Oh, yes. Does he have production across several years? Oh, yes. Just like check off. Is he a liability in the run game? Oh, no. Just like sign me off on these guys.
This is what I'm saying, though, bro. We're going to look in 3 years from now and go, wait, they had Bain, Messidor, and Moten all together?
Yep. More ball knowledge being exhibited by this ball-knowing chat. Thank you, Hank, for the McDuffie shout-out. Tyrann Mathieu, a 5'9" prospect as well. Obviously, he's not a first-rounder. Probably is, if not for the off-field stuff the Honey Badger was going through when he was coming out of LSU and not even being on a team that last year. But the Honey Badger, 5'9", 186.
And started out playing safety, I think.
Yep.
Right?
And Pons is 170.
Yeah.
So that's where that big difference is.
One more.
Yes.
Mikey Sanders still coming out of Michigan. My guy. I mean, just kind of like
he's been
Pons.
a great pro.
Just made plays all over the place, attacking the football, punching the ball out, making tackles. He's listed right now at 5'10", 182. I don't know what he was coming out, but
I need the combine
around
measurements. 5'9", 182. Yeah. So again, but you got to beef up a little bit.
Yes.
So I don't know. Really intriguing guys. If Pons were to drop drastically, I'd be all over that. Aiden Fisher, the interior linebacker, like him a lot. 6'1", 233. Maybe a smidge undersized. Kamara, like him a lot. 6'1", 265. Do you need more guys like that?
Look, here's the thing. We're going to have to start thinking about college football differently because especially right now, maybe it's ending this year, but at least the last few years with the COVID years and how easy it is to get eligibility just back, teams are loading up on these older guys, 23, 24. Colorado had a guy today who is no longer going to be on the team because he's deemed ineligible. He was going to be 23 or so years old at defensive end because they just hand these years out like candy. That's what Indiana and Cignetti did. He did bring a lot of them with him from JMU, but that was a grown football team. And yes, Miami's going to have more NFL talent. They also have more 19, 20, 21-year-olds in big roles. Malachi Tony should be playing his senior year of high school football this year. He led the entire game in receiving.
What a freak. Perfect.
He's unbelievable.
Eli Heinrich, the Navy kid who we've talked about a little bit, and he's a kind of running back, wide receiver, can block out the backfield. I mean, it's Navy, right? Those guys do a little bit of everything. Got some kick return ability. He'll be at the Shrine, which I think we'll be able to start talk about on the next draft pod. Okay, close out the show. Got this super chat from Yard Guys LLC saying, "Hey guys, coming from North Dakota this weekend. Also got tickets for the tailgate. Will you guys be there? Amazing. Can't wait to see you. Stop by the bar. Jake and I doing some stuff at the bar before and after the game, so we're kind of there. But you will see RK, you will see Hank, you will see Benny, you'll see super producer Yaya and Dion Smith handing stuff out, and you will feel the warmth of Broncos country. Chilly, by the way. Chilly.
It keeps getting worse. It's up to 22 degrees high.
Yeah, no, it's going to be a frigid one, which for more of a defensive struggle, I like.
Home field advantage.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. So, bless you in your travels, my man, and thank you for the super chat and supporting the show. And have a blast, man. Make those Pats hear you and feel you at Mile High. So enjoy the tailgate. Mad love to all of you. Look at that, 53 likes. What superstars. Love you for that.
Draft pod, turn up.
Draft pod forever. You guys are the best. We will see you soon. Until next week, go Broncos, baby. God bless Bo Nix. God bless Jared Stidham.
We all silly like the mayor.